So I just have to talk about this. I've just found out now because I know that we need to put the rent up at Christmas. We put it up last year. Technically, I know it should have been a bit higher. I think what happened is when we first bought the property in 2019, I had lots of clients, and a lot of them said, six, 700, that's all you'll get in this area. And I believed them. I did my research. Six, 700 was all we were going to get. But houses are very, very cheap. They were 100,000. So I was thinking, whatever. When we actually came to buy the property, the house that we bought, we wanted to pay like 130, but we ended up paying 145 because that was kind of like what we needed to pay to buy it. And then we spent 15,000 doing it up. And then I'm thinking, wow, we've actually spent 160,000 on it, which was way more than what I was, planning on spending it. But I kind of had my mindset on it so that when I first came here, this one was 105. And my mindset was always on buying another one. Live in one, rent out the other. If I go for a cheap house, that way I'd be able to do it. So that's kind of like what I was planning. And then when the price kind of went up dramatically, went up about 40,000 in just the 3 years that I was here. I guess that was why my sister's partner, he's good at business. When he was married, when they were married, they're divorced now. But when they were married, he was a good business. And I think he saw that the housing market in this area was rising a lot. I think it had one of the best rental rates in the whole of the country. I think because no one wanted to live here, but at the same time because of the H2O and then because of the development plans that are all going to go on in Birmingham, there was all this big hype about how it was going to be good. So, I saw that and I saw it was a good place to come. And it is. But I'm just shocked at the housing. I'm just shocked at the price because it was about 600 to 700, and then we had COVID. The whole economy had collapsed. I was assuming that the housing market has not gone up. I knew that the bills that we were paying were very, very minimal because we were renting it on Airbnb and it was mostly empty throughout COVID. So our bills were probably about £70. I was thinking it would be that the bills would be about £100, so that way technically we're renting it out for about 700 a month and we're paying 100 for bills. So we thought that for £800 would rent it out for £800 a month, and we got someone for 3 months. They ended up staying longer, which was fine during the summer months, but then when we realised that it's winter, it's winter coming around again, and oh crap, the bills doubled. So the bills were no longer £100 a month. We were looking at £200 a month. So I was trying to get her to pay the bills, and I was also realising that we probably are charging a bit less than what we should be. So can you just pay the bills and pay the same price? And that agreement did take in, but it came a couple of months later than what I was hoping. So she got a really good deal, and then we did that for £800, no bills, and we did that for a year. But a year later, when I realised that the housing market was probably more like 110 and we were charging 800, I had to put it up by 100. And then in the third year or second, maybe it was I think it was the second. So the first year she paid 800 including bills. The second year she paid 800 without bills. So that was actually quite a good saving for us because we were saving £200. Like in the summer, the bills were very, very low, but in the winter we were saving quite a lot. So even though the bill didn't go up, and then we went up to 800, and I think I realised halfway through, we realised that actually the housing market was now, like last year, we realised that it was actually like 1,200, 1,300, and therefore we had to kind of put it up again by 50. So we went up to 950 just as like kind of reflection to the market. I was kind of satisfied with that, and I was hoping like maybe it will go up. I was not hoping, but I was thinking if it does go up, fine, I'll go up by 50, and that was always my intention and my plan. But I've just looked at now because I was about to send, I literally wrote the letter out and printed it out, and I was going to charge 1,000 a month, 50 more than last year, 5% interest rise. It's gone up 5% rise. That to me is. It's a lot. To go up 5% when the salaries have probably only gone up about 3%, that's quite a lot. But I've looked at the housing market and I'm absolutely shocked at it. The housing markets are. I don't know if the same page is it's refreshing the page, but 1,800. Oh, it's popped up. So it's 1,700. These are all 3-bedroom houses in this area. 1,560, 1,200, but I think that's that's Witton area, so that's an area that's not actually. I think some areas are really bad, some areas are really good, and but that's even a bad area is 1,200, and so why am I charging 950? And I was going to go up to 1,000, but after seeing this, I mean, well, this is just a 3-bedroom house in Witton Street, which is B9, which is very close. 1,700. This is literally £1,000 more than what it was in 2019, and it's 2025 now. So this is 6 years later, and it's literally £1,000 more than what a month. This is every single month more than what it is. And the first year I was basically, I didn't go up at all because I just wanted her to pay bills, and bills are double, so I kind of agreed to keep it low, just to get her to pay the bills. The second year I did go up 100, and the third year I went up like by 50, and I was going to go up by 50 again. But now I'm realizing that the housing market has actually almost doubled from what it was 5 years ago. You know, I'm going to charge or see if I can get 1,500, which is still, can't you believe it? That's 1,755. I've gone up to one. I've asked her for 1,050, so that's still £700 less than that. I mean, I guess when I first heard these prices, like 1,200, 1,300, you know, last summer, that's basically what the average was, and the estate agent said that I could get that as well. But I was thinking, if I do that, I'm going to have to go through the estate agent. The estate agent's probably going to take 10%. So technically, I'm only making £200 less. You know, this woman's trustworthy. I don't need to go through an agent, therefore I don't have agency fees. So, you know, I don't mind charging a little bit less because I'm not going through an agent, and she seems very trustworthy. Like she's never not paid. I can understand why people would go for an agency these days, because I've heard of stories. This person I played badminton with said she had someone who bought a property, spent a huge amount, had a huge mortgage, got someone in there for 4 months, and then they refused to pay the bills. So she basically had to pay their rent for the mortgage and stuff. So I've heard of things like that. So I can understand the rent going up hugely because of things like that. But that's almost like saying that a huge number of people have to pay sort of excess of rent for all the people that come in and aren't there. Or maybe this is just like a false price, and they're charging really high rates just so they can try and get someone in who would perhaps charge less. I mean, if you try charging 1,800 for a 3-bedroom house per month, and if they turn around and say I can only pay 1,500, you know, they might be willing to go with that. So I'm wondering if this is all just like some sort of false market. But I was going to go up 50, but after seeing this, I've got to go up 100, just because it's a better reflection of the market. And it would be annoying to think that if that lady leaves, then I can get an agent in and charge 1,700. Yes, okay, the agency, I'm going to have to get an agency fee. I think if you're charging a little bit of money, you can trust that, you know, they'll pay. But if you know you could be making huge amounts of money, you know, that's when you really need to get an agent involved. Why? Because the agent will probably do a better job at making sure they pay and stuff. But yeah, that's really shocking. I mean, it's good for me because it means that I'll be making if she agrees to this, and I think, considering how much the houses in Birmingham are now, you know, she will, because she's not going to want to have to move somewhere else to pay 1,700. I mean, that's actually 1,800, 1,794 a month. So that's almost double, and that property doesn't look nice. It's just black, just a plain carpet. There's nothing special or interesting about it. I mean, maybe the bedrooms. In the one we have, 2 of the bedrooms are pretty small, but we have a big kitchen diner and a living room, and it's got a giant garden. So it's a nice place, a nice location, and I think she is kind of renting. I think she has rented out a couple of the rooms to help bring in. But yeah, if she's renting out some of the rooms, she could probably get a very high rate for it. So. I'm sure she'll pay. I'm sure she'd be happy to. I'm sure she could afford it, but that's shocking. I think what it is the government are offering £500 of, you know, monthly rents each month to help people pay their rents, and then the landlords are just thinking, you know what, this is money that they're using to help these people. Well, why aren't they helping me? So what we're going to do? We're going to start raising up our costs so that we can try and get back some of this money. And if they're doing it, I don't want to just copy them, but I have to, because if the government is giving huge amounts of money to people, the people renting out properties, we want to take it. We want to have some sort of benefit from it. And if we're still charging £600-700 a month and they're getting basically the whole rent free, that's kind of unfair for us, because we've worked hard to buy our properties and stuff. So and also the maintenance, if things start falling apart or if people stop paying and stuff, we're the landlords are the ones who are taking a huge amount of risk. And so if the reason why this cost is going up is because there's a lot of landlords that are getting bad tenants, hence when they get good tenants they have to charge more for them, or maybe when they finally get people out, they say we're not renting this property out unless we get a lot more, because we want to make sure that if they do skip a couple of months, we can still pay the mortgage. Maybe that's why the rent is. I don't know why the rent has gone up so much, but it's crazy how much it's gone up. And yeah, it's a good thing, because if she agrees to that, that means okay, I only own half the property, so it means that I'll be making £50 more a month. £50 a month is an extra. £50 extra a month just for the price that's gone up. That's actually quite a lot. But yeah.